love her, hold her. I doted over that child. Um, and she was amazing. It was the worst thing though to look into that NICU guy's eyes when I pushed her out and him look at me and say, "We're not helping you. We're not helping her. We can't." Because as a mom, that's your first instinct is to help your child and to just not let them gasp for air and let them suffer. But she did really well. She didn't like me checking on her. Every time I would pull the blanket back to look at her, what are you doing? So I waited until she passed away to, count the toes, count the fingers, look at her. She was absolutely perfect. She was 11 inches and about 9 ounces. She was very tall, very skinny. She was beautiful. And there was no diagnosis as to what caused her to come. They believe it was incompetent cervix all the way because I didn't have any pain or contraction. She just fell out. So they said the only way to do this is to try again. So we tried again. And in 2011, about 3 or 4 months after she passed away, we did Clomid again, and we found out we were pregnant. And it was a boy. And the same exact thing happened. At about 15, 16 weeks, while on vacation, visiting my family, my water broke on the toilet. And I started to hemorrhage, to clot. It was much different. It was a placental abruption versus an incompetent cervix. They believe that the incompetent cervix caused the placenta to tear away. Because, believe it or not, he was much bigger than she was at her gestation, in the sense of, even though he was 16 weeks, he was measuring ahead, and he was a chunky one. And they think that the weight was equivalent to what my cervix could hold. So the placenta tore away. So he was still in there, but I was probably going to die if something didn't happen soon. So they induced me, gave me contraction medicine. I gave birth to him. He died pretty immediately after we cut the cord, and I continued to pass blood. The placenta would not come out, so I had to have a D&C. My husband was deployed during this time. He was there for Mariah, but he was deployed during the loss of our son. He never got to see our son or hold our son. And that for him was the biggest thing. He doesn't even like to talk about it. He can talk about Mariah a lot more than he can talk about Aaron Jr. And I just think for him, it was the fact he wasn't there. And he blames himself, which is not his fault. So we pretty much had this determination that we probably knew it was my cervix, but it could have been a uterine abnormality too. So we had, while Aaron was still deployed, I decided to take that time to have every single test that money could buy because the insurance was going to cover it. So I had $10,000 in testing done. I had my uterus tested. I had an HSG tested. They expanded my uterus to see if it changed when it stretched out. They took 40 different vials of blood to test for every single clotting disorder, every single malformation, and I came back absolutely 100% perfect. Was not the diagnosis I wanted. I wanted there to be some little clotting disorder, some little thing that caused it so that I could just take an injection and move on. And that was not the case. My uterus came back perfect, and that's what I assumed would have some polyps and malformations, and no, it was perfect. It was fine. So the cervix is pretty much our bastard. It just gets to about 16 weeks to 20 weeks, depending on what their weight is, and they fall out, or the placenta tears away and they come out. So on October 8th, I see a specialist. I have already pretty much determined that I am going the most extreme route you can possibly go with cerclages. I'm not piddly-assing around with it. I know too many beautiful ladies that have my issue that get the regular vaginal cerclage. They go up into your vagina, sew it shut, then they unstitch it when it's 37 weeks and you deliver vaginally, and oftentimes it only offers them 3 to 4 more weeks. The stitch breaks through, the weight, they fall, you know, instead of 19 weeks, now we have a 23 weeker or a 24 weeker. So the cerclage that I have chosen goes through my abdomen, goes to the cervix at the highest point, and it's permanent. It's there forever. I will never be able to vaginally deliver a child. It will always be C-section because there's nothing ever coming out of my cervix. And there's a sense of relief for me that if something happens, my water breaks, I can take my time, I can take a shower. Should crap hit the fan, I don't have to rush to the hospital because I'm afraid my baby's falling out, because that is the last thing that will happen with one of those, is my baby falling out. So most people get them done before pregnancy. One of the top leading guys in the nation that is in Phoenix that is doing it for me, Dr. Richard Demir, believes in doing them at 12 to 14 weeks pregnant, because it allows for the swelling. It allows for him to properly put the stitch. Half the time when they put the stitch in before pregnancy, they oftentimes either do it too high or too tight, and it can cause complications because they don't know how your uterus is going to swell. They don't know how your organs are going to move around for that. So I'm nervous because, God forbid, I don't want to have another loss of, 14 weeks in a day, the day before we, have the surgery done. But I trust him, and I trust that it's going to work. And if it doesn't work, then we're SOL. And we go through our surrogacy plan. But after we lost my son, we waited a year, almost a year, to try again. My husband was still currently deployed. He came back. We had a chemical pregnancy. And then just recently in April, we lost my left tube. I got pregnant again. The left tube that was clear, that had no problems. The baby attached itself right before it was supposed to fall into the uterus. The HCG got over 5,000. We thought we were fine. I almost died. I walked around with a ruptured tube for 3 to 4 days, they believe. And my tube is gone, so I have one tube now. So now the future trying to conceive journey is probably going to take a little bit longer, but that's all right. I may have to have IVF. God forbid we have another tubal. I mean, we just can't seem to catch a break. I would just like one damn child. Can I just rant and rave here? I got my ass handed to me the other day because I said, I just don't understand how these women that go through what I go through, they get their rainbow baby, their miracle child, and 3 months later they're like, I gotta have another one. I just got to. I gotta conceive now. And it's like, I don't know. I mean, anyone can have any number of kids and anyone can do whatever they please. They're adults. But I just don't understand that mentality. I can't grasp it because it seems like, I just want to say, just a few months ago, you said you just wanted one and you were so scared and you've gone through this journey and now it's like, I gotta have more. I don't understand that concept. Because let me just say this. If we are going to ever get a miracle child out of this long, treacherous journey, the last thing I want to do is have another anxious, stressful, oh my God, pregnancy, and my child can't even walk and I can't even focus on them. My personal choices, but I don't know. So yeah, I started off my marriage wanting 4 to 6 children because I'm an educated teacher and my love and passion for children started when I was a teenager. And I will be 26, possibly more like 27, before I actually have a child that would be here, even if things go perfectly for us the next time. And it's not old, but there's no way I'm having 4 to 6. Not unless I go adopt a tribe from Africa for an iPod or something, trade a kid for an iPod. But I'm in a much better place. It's been 2 years, pretty much 2 years since we lost our daughter. It's been over a year since we lost our son. The tubal is still new, but it must be God because I'm not giving up. And I will go till they rip my uterus out and tell me that I need to stop trying, because I got so close with my daughter. I got 21 weeks in there. I mean, I know babies that are born at 30 and 31 and they thrive. And I just feel like I just got so close, and I carry really well up to that point that it just seems like if I can keep them in there, that's all they need, you know. And so I'm hoping that this is what works for us. But I'm hoping in the next 90 days I will be posting a video that says we're pregnant and the baby is in the uterus. That will make me happy. So if you have any questions or anything, let me know. I tend to be a little long-winded. I will show you really quick. These are pictures. If you don't want to see them, end it now. This is the picture of my son. It's really hard to explain his size. He pretty much fit in the palm of my hand. And he weighed about as much as a candy bar. That's probably the best way I can describe it. And this is my daughter. She's quite a bit bigger. This is her right after she passed away. Believe it or not, to me, she looks a lot like me and my husband. My husband actually sleeps with one arm over his shoulder. Creepy, cool, but and she had his lips, and she was beautiful, and she was probably the biggest, I guess the biggest way I could describe it is she was a large Beanie Baby. A little bit longer, but the Beanie Baby is the best way to describe it. You had to have two hands to hold her. She didn't fit in one hand. So those are my children. I actually have a painting that is signed by the artist. This will probably make you tear up. It makes me tear up every time I talk about it. This is the painting. It is, sorry, my phone is really bad. There we go, and I gotta get it situated. It's of Jesus with my son and my daughter. That's how I see them. And the artist signed it in loving memory of Mariah and Aaron Jr. And what most people don't know is that is only half of the picture. That is the picture that they chose to mass paint and mass produce. But what is over here in this corner, in front of them, that made the artist tear up, is it's actually a gravesite. And Jesus is taking the kids to look and watch over their parents as their parents are visiting their gravesite. So when I told him my story and why I had to have this painting, he was like, I wish I could get the full painting for you, because that is exactly what this is. It's Jesus and this couple, son and daughter, looking over them as they visit their gravesite. And so that's what I have of, that's in my living room. And then I also have their, her affirmation of life. What's sad is, and I have his naming and blessing certificate. He was actually anointed and prayed over. My daughter, however, was not born at a Catholic hospital. And what's sad is even though that she was alive for 20 minutes, her APGAR scores were really low. So they don't consider her alive. They don't consider her a life. They consider her a miscarriage. Or no, what the certificate says is it's a birth resulting in a stillbirth. Because, you know, they don't want us to claim a loss of a child on insurance. They don't want to have to, you know, give her a social security number or feel like she was, it's the medical field needs to change their stuff big time. A lot of places for stillbirths, like babies that, you know, are born with the cord wrapped around their neck and they die, they don't even get a birth certificate, which is baloney. So that's a whole nother rant. But Thank you, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and let me know if I can help you or anyone you know in any way.